Okay, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the briefing for Monday, the 19th of February. Okay, midday chart today showing a weakening cold front or occlusion, depending on exactly which part you look at, having passed through, which is probably what we're under at the moment. Otherwise, once that's gone through, we're left with fairly reasonable winds. These ice bars aren't showing too close to each other, although I think the winds lower down is going to be fairly strong. As it goes further east, looks like it's going to bend around more northerly. You see the kink in this isobar here. So starting off westerly and then going more northwesterly as the day goes on. Moving further ahead to tomorrow, winds may be increasing a little bit. High pressure just over the Bay of Biscay, and that's just sort of compressing all the weather towards us. And as we go into Wednesday, looking a bit more interesting with several frontal systems over us. So Wednesday could be a bit more challenging, but the next few days look okay. Yeah, winds today at midday, it's showing northwesterly about 25 knots, so fairly brisk and reasonably strong nearer the ground as well. It's showing 25 knots at 1,000 feet as well. Sat pic, you can see what looks like the remainder of those fronts just going through now. This is 8:30, see if it has updated. It doesn't look like it has, it's usually a bit behind. Otherwise, it looks like there's some upper cloud making its way over. That could be that approaching warm front, although it's a little bit far away. But otherwise, we should be left with a reasonably clear area. It's going to be fairly cloudy all day, I think, but it hopefully should be a bit higher than what we've got at the moment. Rain radar, you can see a line of showers there. Looking at the rainfall forecast, give it an hour or so and it's most of the way through. This is 10:30, maybe a few little bits around, but by 11, looking better. And then through the rest of the day, showing here some scattered showers, not picking up any directly over the top of us, but it looks like if we're unlucky, we might catch a shower in the afternoon. Otherwise, the rest of the afternoon looking fairly dry, no significant weather coming through. Public forecast then showing fairly thick cloud this morning and sunnier intervals for the rest of the day, showing slightly higher chance of precipitation, 20% this morning. Otherwise, top temperature of 11 degrees. Humidity starting off relatively high, up at around 90%, just above 90%, but by midday significantly reducing. So lower cloud potentially to begin with, but by midday should be absolutely fine. And you see that fairly significant breeze from the west, bending round to the northwest as we go into the afternoon and slightly easing off as well by sunset. So by midday, GFS is showing we'll have 11, maybe 12 degrees with dew points at around 7, so that's absolutely fine. And that's current view outside. This cloud is a little bit on the low side, unfortunately. You see that windsock quite high up, actually. Fair westerly breeze showing there. Currently 8 degrees at Lasham, dew points just under 6, so you've got quite a small gap there, implying the cloud is probably below 1,000 feet at the moment. Okay, ODM half an hour ago, scattered at 900, so that's about 700 feet above Lasham, and broken a bit higher than that. But their forecast from 9 a.m. onwards is few clouds at 1,200, which is 1,000 feet. Chances are winch launch through that if it's only a few clouds. Broken at 2,000. And generally not bad as the day goes on. They put a temporary here for 9 to 11 for broken at 1,200. So that's 1,000 feet above Lasham. But after 11 looks better. They've put another tempo here for this morning, rain and drizzle, and a prop 30 for some strong wind gusts, and that's until 1 p.m. Up to 26 knots. So more significant weather this morning, becoming a little bit nicer into the afternoon by the looks of it. Farnborough, very similar picture. They're actually a bit less optimistic. They're showing scattered clouds at 1,000 feet all day, which I think that is a bit pessimistic. But there you go, there's a chance of low cloud all day if you listen to Farnborough. Okay, this is top meteo, 10 a.m. Lasham area, it's showing relatively low cloud. As we go through the morning, this is 11 a.m. improving, and by midday, looking much better with some ever so slightly lower cloud or mist around, but it looks like it should be clear in the Lasham area. Going through the afternoon, they're not actually picking up any of these scattered showers, so top meteo thinks by midday should be very flyable with no showers in the afternoon. Okay, no NOTAMs to be worrying about today. Okay, setup's going to be the same as yesterday. So we're going to have the launch point. In fact, let me start that again. We're going to have the launch point slightly further in. So I have the launch point about here somewhere. I can only assume the grass is still going to be sodden because yesterday there was standing water over the majority of the grass. Cables running down the north side, winch launching from the north side of the runway, aerotaking from the south side of the runway. And circuits will be onto the runway. That's south side circuits only onto the runway. So south side circuits to the runway, north side circuits to the north side grass. I would recommend doing a south side circuit landing on the runway. Certainly to begin with, the grass was very, very wet yesterday, and it really does want to be avoided. If it does dry out a bit this morning, we can think about moving the operation back, getting some slightly higher winch launches this afternoon. But chances are, I think we'll be on this operation all day. So that's south side circuits landing on the runway, stopping well before the launch point. North side circuits onto the north side grass. Okay, two K21s today, that's 774 and 778, two K13s, Charlie and Sierra, and just SH6 for the baby drops today. Unfortunately, we found some damage on SH8 yesterday that have gone unreported, which does make it unserviceable. Three discuses otherwise. Keep tagging on the wind check, that's been good. If we can just make sure wing walkers, you keep the glider pointing towards the buggy as it doesn't steer itself like it does on the aerotow hook. And drivers, if the glider is not pointing towards you, please just stop and be conscious of if the cable is off to the side, be conscious that it might be starting to trip up the person walking by the nose. I'm putting together some guidance for this with some nice diagrams on it, so that should be out in a couple of weeks, and that might help. Please don't sit on the wing roots or put parachutes or anything on there, and make sure we're lifting the tail when we're turning. That's specific to the tail heavy gliders, so SH6. Should be the tail dolly for it somewhere. Okay, we've got a 737-300 departing at 1 p.m. And this morning, if it's a bit of a slow start, we've got the simulator serviceable and we can do any bronze tests or any briefings or lectures that people require. Okay, I think we can get the gliders out at some point this morning. It might just be a little bit of a wait before it is flyable, but should be a good afternoon. Bye for now.